Hi! For those of you who have read my first article, 3 Steps to Avoid Startup Failure, you have now become familiar with one of the most pressing problems for entrepreneurs worldwide, the risk of failure. More specifically, you will remember this piece of information released by CB Insights, which tells us that most startups fail because they have launched their product on the market and they have found out there is no market need for it. This is terrible. Picture yourself 1 year from now. You have invested time and extreme effort to create the product, but no consumers actually care about it. There is a way you can actually avoid all this. You can reduce your likelihood of failure by following 3 steps. You will remember them from the first article. They are problem validation, offer validation, and solution validation. Today, in the next 2 articles, I'm going to talk about each specific phase and giving you advices on how to actually do that in the best way possible. So the problem validation phase is one where you ask yourself, am I really focusing on the right problem? And is this problem worth investing in? I'm going to do that in a very peculiar way. I'm going to describe to you what an actual startup did. I'm going to take a case study, that of Inktom, a startup which entered the startup school that I manage at Bocconi University, where every year we help startups validate their entire business model. So Inktom came in our startup school with an idea. There is a TripAdvisor for restaurants and it's working perfectly. Why shouldn't we do a TripAdvisor for tattoo shops? So think about a website like this. You are there, you search for a specific city or specific tattoo style or specific tattoo, and you actually find yourself with a lot of results. All the tattoos in your city, you can see the profiles and choose the one you like the most and book, finally, a tattoo appointment. Wonderful, right? Unfortunately, things are not that easy. So the first step in the problem validation phase is that you need to think about the problem that your product is solving. Please do that. Put your product and or service aside for a moment. I know that you want to add a lot of features to your product and you imagine a bright future, but stop for a second. Think about what problem is this search engine solving for tattooed people in the market. I'm going to tell you how Inktom did that and how it tested whether the problem that it had imagined and theorized was actually true, and the consequences that Inktom achieved, which were pretty wonderful and important for the business. So, first step, craft your theory. The question is, what problem am I solving? So if you think about it, a search engine filters by city, tattoo style, or tattoo subject, and by doing that, it speeds up the process by which you can find your tattoo artist. So speed is really the pain that is assumed here. Is it true? Do people take time to search for a tattooist? That is the assumptions you want to write down. So as an exercise, put a paper in front of yourself and write down that hypothesis. People take time to find the right artist online. Now, before you go out to potential customers and ask that question, please do something else. Think whether there are other assumptions that come before or after the hypothesis that you can also test by talking to your customers. For example, in the case of Inktom, it's naturally assumed that people always look for new artists. If they went to the same artist all the time, then you understand that the search engine would not be a proper solution. Similarly, if people do not search for an artist online, there is no point in creating a search engine because it's an online service. And the second suggestion that I give to you is think also about if all the prior assumptions are right, is there anything else that must be true for my solution to be successful? In the case of Inktom, this was. Even if people take a lot of time and they can now see with my solution all the artists very quickly, can they choose the artists they like the most? Are they comfortable in making this choice? Okay, so then the third step for Inktom was to go out for introduce to potential customers. I'm not going to spend too much time on here. I'm going to do just one video right on this, how to find the potential customers, what type of questions to ask, because there are specific guidelines on this. But just going to tell you the results of these tests and to make you aware of the importance of doing problem validation. So it turns out that tattooed people do not always go to the same tattoos. They like to change. But most of the time, they search for tattoos offline. They go to tattoo conventions, expos, where they can actually talk to the artist and see, how particular they are and whether there is a feeling with them. So tattooed people are not really the target here. But are the non-tattooed or little tattooed people the target? Do they have that pain? Yes, they did. They, in fact, took time to search for the artist online, but most importantly and interestingly, they were not comfortable in making the choice. Why? Well, because they didn't have any expertise. They didn't have any benchmark to say whether this artist is better than another. So they needed suggestion. And during the interviews, it turned out that people were happy only when they had a friend which had that experience and could help them choose the right artist. Oh, this was outstanding. This was a great piece of information for Inktom. Why? Because it led to a big change in its strategy. It turned from a search engine solution, completely technological product, to a sort of digital consulting service, a website where people could share their tattoo idea and talk to tattoo experts that could advise them on the tattoo. So you see here the complete change of trajectory from a technological company to more of a community management company where you need to find the right tattoo experts and get them to talk to your users in order to finally solve their real problem. I hope that the message has reached you. If you are an early stage entrepreneur and you have not validated your problem, you risk investing in the wrong problem, on the wrong product. Invest a lot of time and effort in something which is not going to work out. So please stop for a second and do problem validation. Thank you for watching and looking forward to the next article.